Hello everybody, nice to see you again. Just to remind you, my name is Pitman. I'm the Learner Safeguarding and Welfare Manager for the college, and today I'm going to deliver a training session around the prevent duty. My objectives today are that you understand the prevent duty and how it impacts on educational establishments, and that you understand your responsibilities should you have any concerns and who you can report your concerns to. All educational establishments have to abide by the prevent duty. The prevent duty takes into account organisational responsibilities to our learners. So due to the duty, we have to vet every external speaker that comes into the college. As a result of that, we have an external speakers policy, and it has been developed specifically for this purpose. If we had any concerns about an external speaker, we would share this information with the Welsh Counter-Terrorism Unit, and they would RAG rate the speaker for us to enable us to make a decision based on the level of risk. And they would RAG rate red, amber or green. If it came back as amber, we would look at could we bring in other speakers to counter-narrate the argument and ensure that it was safe for us to do so. It expects us to have a SPOC, a single point of contact for prevent concerns, and that is actually myself. I'm the identified SPOC, and I also sit on Channel. Now, Channel is a multi-agency meeting where people who are at risk of becoming radicalised are referred to. The prevent duty requires us to have clear reporting and referral routes. The prevent duty requires us to provide welfare and pastoral care for our students and have clear procedures for using our prayer room safely. We're really lucky as a college. We currently have 9 student support officers. We have pastoral coaches, and we have prayer rooms with rules for using. For Cynon, Ticoch and Jubilee Court campus, students actually have to sign in and access a key so that we know who's in there at any one time. It requires us to have clear IT policies which reference the prevent duty and use filtering as a means of blocking access to any extreme sites. Now, the filtering we've got is really good, and yes, if somebody was researching any extreme sites, that would come up and that information would come to myself. It requires us to follow the 4 British values: democracy, rule of law, individual liberty and mutual respect. And it requires us to provide training on prevent to both staff and students alike. This is just a really helpful website, really, for if you had concerns over a weekend or an evening and you couldn't actually get in contact with the safeguarding officer. There are, as we know, many factors that can make somebody vulnerable to radicalisation, and they can apply to any age, social class, religion, ethnic or educational background. But more important for us to recognise is the sense that something is not quite right with the young person you're worried about. You might spot a single sign or a combination of signs that are increasing in intensity. And sometimes they can be indicators of other underlying issues or challenges that are not connected to radicalisation. But trust your instincts and contact one of the organisations listed in the website for advice if it's outside of college. If it's inside college, come to your personal tutor, the student support officer, for advice about how we proceed. Okay, this is a very short video, but it just shows what we need to look out for, what is happening right under our noses, which we may miss. So for me, it's a really powerful video. A lot of work goes into coordinating a terrorist attack. Like other criminals, terrorists need to plan and prepare, buy and store materials, and find ways to fund their activities. Much of this is done in view of the public. So if you see or hear something unusual or suspicious, trust your instincts and act. It will always be taken seriously, and it's much safer to report something that isn't a problem than not to report something which could actually save lives. Okay, these are just some popular far-right extremist symbols. These have been seen in Singleton Park, graffiti. I have actually seen people collecting money with some of these, the Nazi flag, party flag. There have been leaflets given out in Gower, so it is very close to us as a campus, and it's really important if you see any of these signs that you do report it to your tutor or a safeguarding officer. Obviously now we've got to think about the Taliban as well as the ISIS, but until recently it's only been the ISIS. They tend to fight one cause rather than have lots of separate right-wing extreme groups, so it does make them much more powerful, and there's not so much that we can actually show you with regards to what to look out for. Okay, this is a short film on recognising the signs. It's a really powerful film that radicalization can happen to any family, and it really does. It gets me here every time I watch this film.
They were taken from Turkey into Syria 4 or 5 days ago by smugglers. Their plan, it's thought, is to join with the group calling itself Islamic State.
She liked reading, she liked watching TV, just did normal stuff that normal people do. What possessed her to make that journey is something that we still constantly keep asking ourselves.
Rayad Khan, brought up in Cardiff, now reported to have died fighting for the so-called Islamic State.
Aqsa Mahmoud, brought up in a loving home, her family hoped she'd become a doctor. Instead, she's in Syria, radicalised and married to an Islamic State fighter.
Still we are trying to find out how that can happen to us. I mean, we feel it can happen to others.
It's just left a big hole in the house. We just want her home, we want her safe.
He just make us really want to hate him. I doubt if I ever forgive him.
All parents want to be proud of their children, but sadly we now feel nothing but sorrow and shame for Aqsa.
I'm dying for you. You're my only son. Please come back, Riyadh.
He was too much into the computers, and someone misguided him, put him on the wrong track.
We're assuming it's all happened through their mobile devices now, and maybe in school. To us, it could have only been one of those two places where they actually planned all of this.
Concern over Khan's extreme views led to him being banned from speaking at 2 British universities.
How do I know that someone's being radicalised? What are the signs?
She was a little concerned about Syria, people dying there with the Assad regime, you know.
She's crying, she's mostly crying.
Sometimes she's crying, but we thought she's just concerned about the killing of people, you know.
Don't ignore all these small changes, because over the long term it adds up to quite an extreme change. You need to intervene early.
Go and get help. Don't lose your son like I've lost mine.
So for you, what to do if you're concerned about anyone? Talk to your personal tutor, talk to a student support officer, a learner coach, or contact a designated safeguarding officer directly. If you tell your tutor or learner coach, they will support you in informing a designated safeguarding officer. And once the designated safeguarding officer has been told, they will assess and make the decision on the next steps while keeping you fully informed. Thank you once again for listening. And once again, should you have any questions, your tutor can collate them and either invite me into your next tutorial or share the answers with you. Thank you.